Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. And welcome to this franchise horror movie review video, the Critters franchise review video. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the one movie I don't have the physical media for, and that is the most recent Critters movie, Critters Attack from 2019. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Critters Attack is a 2019 horror comedy film. It is a reboot of the 1986 film Critters and the fifth entry in the Critters franchise. Although returning actress Dee Wallace was assumed to be portraying a new heroine distinct from her Helen Brown character, Wallace herself confirmed that she was reprising the original role with a name change to Aunt Dee due to potential legal issues. While babysitting two teenagers, college student Drea discovers that the alien Krites have landed in a nearby forest. They soon receive assistance from the mysterious Aunt Dee, who may have a history with the hungry intergalactic beasts. The teenagers also encounter a white alien Krite named Bianca. So yeah, pretty quick synopsis there. As far as the cast goes, we have Tashiana Washington as Drea, Dee Wallace as Aunt Dee, Jaden Knoll as Philip, Jack Fulton as Jack, and Ava Preston as Trissy. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 2019 Critters movie, Critters Attack. Again, this is another sort of generic, not great Critters sequel. Or kind of reboot sequel, I guess, if you want to say. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a bit of a reboot, but it's also clearly some type of sequel as well, as it mentioned with Dee Wallace's character. Reprising her original role with the name. So basically, it is her original role from the Critters 1986, but they have to call her Aunt Dee due to rights issues, legal rights issues. So take that for what it's worth. But as far as the movie goes, it has its, just like the other sequels, it has its positives and its negatives for sure. But let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the things that I liked about the movie. And the biggest thing that stands out to me that kind of surprised me the most, especially being a 2019 Critters movie, is it's 95% practical effects in this movie. Everything regarding the critters and their movements, their look, the gore effects with them, it's all practical, and I really like that and appreciate that aspect of the movie. Like when the Krites are killed or blown up or shot or whatever, you got the green ooze coming out of them. All practical, and I thought for sure going into this one that it was going to be more CGI than any of them, and boy was I happy to be wrong about that. So yeah, the practical effects, the first thing that really stands out. This is a movie that there are a lot of critters, once again, probably the most since Critters 2, I would say, which I really liked. It seemed like Critters 3 and 4, they really didn't have a lot of critters on screen or in the movie, and so we kind of get back to like the second one. This movie seemed to have a higher budget than the previous couple, which was another reason why, practical effects as well as the amount of critters that we see on screen. I really love the callbacks to the first couple of Critters movies. A couple of lines like "Kill Krites" by the bounty hunter, who in this case the bounty hunter is Dee Wallace's character, but having Dee Wallace return, though not technically the same character because of rights issues, but it is the same character according to Dee Wallace. And we get the critter ball again, the big fat critter ball, where all the critters roll together in a gigantic ball. That's what we saw in Critters 2. So that was probably my favorite part of the movie, honestly, when I was watching it. That my eyes really widened the most was seeing the critters ball back. So I really love that. There are some good kill scenes with plenty of Krites chewing on people with a good amount of blood and gore. Was kind of surprised for a sci-fi network movie, frankly, that it was that they showed as much as they did. And actually, I was even more surprised to find out that this is the only R-rated movie in the Critters franchise. The rest of them are all PG-13. Now, I don't necessarily think this is a hard R. It's a pretty soft R movie, but that was an interesting thing I found out about the movie. But yeah, there's definitely Kreitz chewing on some legs and some bones and some human cadavers, if you will. My final pros, I thought having the new good Krite slash the female Gizmo, if you will, from the Gremlins franchise, known as Bianca, was sort of an interesting and different angle that sort of added something new and different to this movie and this franchise, frankly. At first, I didn't know how I felt about it, but upon finishing the movie and sleeping on it, I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was an interesting. I'm not going to say that I loved it, but I didn't hate it either. I thought it was an interesting twist, something new to add to the franchise. So I am including it as a pro from that standpoint. So those are pretty much my pros for Critters Attack. As far as cons go, kind of like the last few movies, I didn't really care for any of the human characters here. I wasn't connected with any of them, like our main character of Drea. I don't know. I didn't think she didn't really offer a whole lot, in my opinion. Some of the drama points that are included in this movie reminded me a bit of Critters 3, which is not one of my favorites. They were repeats from those previous movies. Just poorly written and just so-so acting overall in this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a strong connection. I mean, it's a group of kids, basically. It's a group of, like, teenagers to maybe, like, early teenagers to late teenagers. And like I said, the acting's so-so, and the writing's really a problem in this movie. Nothing throughout the movie is really explained. We don't know why the Kreitz are back. We don't know how that's connected to the first four movies. They just show up and they're on the attack, as the title would indicate. And so, yeah, nothing's really explained here. The characters that are introduced, there's certain characters introduced, like Drea's uncle, that are just basically there to die a few scenes later, quickly. They're just there to provide clues to give to these younger characters and to provide them with things to get around, like a truck. I don't know. The story's really just paper thin and really bland overall. It really is not that connected or not that interesting. The attempts at comedy in this movie, I think, are the worst in the entire franchise. Now, it might be because this movie was made in 2019, so they're probably making it for a different generation than what we grew up with in the 80s with the first few Critters films, for sure. But even 3 and 4, the humor, the little bit there was in part 4, connected with me a little bit better than this movie. This is kind of that Gen Z comedy that I really don't get because I'm Gen X. So, the comedy didn't work for me at all. It's the movie that worked the least for me from a comedy attempt standpoint in the entire franchise. It's more cringy. It's just that, like I said, that Gen Z, not to pick on any Gen Zs out there, but it's that 2010s kind of humor that just doesn't work for me. It's very cringy at times. And speaking of cringy, you could say that about a lot of the dialogue that was written in this movie. Not just in terms of the acting and how they present and portray the dialogue, but I think that it's more the writing of the dialogue and just the writing of the script of this movie that really has something to be desired. The movie overall as well is just poorly paced. Like the first act of the movie is very slow, and then the final act of the movie has one of the most abrupt endings to the entire movie that you'll ever see in your life. And I thought that was really lame, where one of the characters basically says, "I told you so," and then it just goes to ending credits, and it didn't fit at all. Like, basically it's a scene where they're aiming their guns that Dee Wallace, as the bounty hunter, brings to and as the big ball of critters is rolling towards them, she counts it down to shoot it. And then another character mentions something that goes back to the beginning of the movie about aliens being real, and then it's cutting right to the end. I don't know. I didn't like it. It's like they completely ran out of money and they had to quickly end the movie or something. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was a great transition. But it just kind of speaks to the overall pacing or lack thereof that this movie had, frankly. But all that being said, I can't say this is the worst Critters movie in the franchise because, as I mentioned in the last movie, it actually has critters in it. And the look of the critters has changed a little bit from the first few movies. Pretty good as far as consistency goes, I would say. They also towards the end of this movie they go back to shooting their quills or shooting their not quill or quills or not the pork like the porcupine quills or like the what's the word that I'm trying to think of that's not coming to me. Um, Quills. Oh man, I can't think of it. Well, anyway, you guys know what I mean. Where they dunk their head and then they shoot out, and it goes into one of the characters' necks and into one of the other characters' arms. So we get that back again, which I appreciate. This felt like a movie that was made by people that loved the original Critters movies, at least the first couple. Um, I don't even think I have the director. Yeah, I didn't put the director in my notes, so I'm not sure who it is. But they just seemed like there's a bit of fan service without being too fan servicey. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's the worst in the franchise. I really don't. But that's not that. That being said, it does have its share of problems as well, like the other sequels for the most part. So I'm going to give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. That's kind of where the last three movies have lived, in the 5 to 6 range. I'm going to give this movie a 5.5 out of 10 for Critters Attack from 2019. Lots of things I don't like, but there's a lot of things I do like. And I think it's kind of if this is the last Critters movie we get, I'm glad that they brought back some of those things from the first few movies that you can really appreciate, like Dee Wallace, the shooting of the quills, and the Critters Ball, of course. So yeah, go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of Critters Attack. Do you like it more or less? Why or why not? What your thoughts are on it. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out for the future content on my channel going forward. But with that being said, stay tuned. I'm still going to have my wrap-up video for this franchise as well as ranking all 5 of these movies. That'll be coming out in a few days here. So as we're at the end of February, just about. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you're doing well. But as always, stay scared. Bye.